Hello dear friends, I'm having my evening cigar and a coffee, and I even helped myself with a bit of scotch today. So cheers. So today's topic is about men being lost. And I don't mean everybody, every man, but a lot of men are actually lost in some way or the other. Let me begin with a story from 1925. Maybe some of you know the Great Serum Run. It was a run to get diphtheria medication, or not antidote, but serum, to a small city in Alaska called Nome. And the men who did that were the dogs. The mushes were extraordinarily brave. There's a history about, for example, one of them, Erik Kalland, I don't know the exact pronunciation of his name, who actually was so frozen when he came to a checkpoint that the owner of the checkpoint had to pour hot water on the handlebar, wooden handlebar, so Erik could get his hands off the handlebar. Another, an even more famous person from this ordeal was Leonhard Sepada, and he had trained both the very famous dog Balto and the very famous dog Togo. And he actually had to endure 420 Ks in 4.5 days. And one of the days they went a distance of 135 kilometers at minus 65 degrees, adjusted for chill factor. It's just incredible how these people manage that. And why am I telling you this? Well, it's because the war against masculinity has really disillusioned men. It's like if the men are lions, telling them they have to be birds. It can give you neurotic behavior. You try to do this, you try to please those people or those people, because a stream of information tells you you can do anything but being a man. And over time, you try to adjust to that, but you will never succeed. Because it's against your true nature. It's against your purpose. It's against what gives men meaning in life. And a lot of people will say, well, you know, that's subjective, but it's not really the case. Because, of course, there will be small variations. But in general, people appreciate love, community. And men appreciate purpose. If they lose their purpose, usually they lose the grip on life. They get desperate, angry maybe, aggressive, or whatever. But modern society teaches men to lose their cool, because they can't do much right by the standards of the feminized ideologies. And I've spoken with men, adult men, with tears in their eyes, telling me that their life seems meaningless. And you can laugh that off and say, well, you know, that's just a weak person. But I don't think they're weak persons. I know hardworking men who've told me that. And back to the Serum Run from 1925. That's a story about courage from men, and men only actually, trying to save a city with 3,000 inhabitants, mostly actually saving the children because they were the hardest hit by diphtheria. And most of them died if they had the disease. But that story is not told. Instead, we focus only on the bad. But, focusing on the bad is not the story, the whole story. Just if you were to choose the most reliable car in the history of the world. Some of the cars from that range might have more problems than the others. But that doesn't tell the whole story about that car. And the reductionist view on masculinity and purpose and the great legacy of white men, and not only white men, but men in general, is really damaging how modern men feel about themselves. Because if you can't be proud of something from the past, or if you can't acknowledge it as a very good thing, acknowledge Churchill for being a very important and strong figure when times needed it, well, how are you supposed to lean or adjust yourself or align yourself with ideals that will maybe make you a strong man, maybe will make you a decisive man when times need it? Because you get told that's bad. No, don't do that, and don't do that. You can't really do nothing right. I read a study from a Danish university where they said sexual harassment was talking to a woman in the bar, for example, who didn't want to talk to you. But how would you know? If you approach her and say, well, you look beautiful, or nice dress, or nice hair, or nice shoes, or whatever you say, and then you say, may I offer you a beer, whatever, coffee, who knows? She might not like that, and she can say no, but it's certainly not sexual harassment. But if you consider it that, how should men then take initiative? There's only a lose-lose then. And then women say, and that's actually the case, that they would like that more men approached them. But that's something you can't solve then. Because if you approach, it could be sexual harassment. And if you don't, you're not approaching enough. It sets you in a superposition where you really can't do anything right. In an anti-superposition, actually. And with that, you disillusion yourself. Or you get disillusioned. And I understand why you don't then not approach at all. Just play video games or whatever. And it's not good for society because we need strong men. The times are calling for strong men. No bullshitters with a purpose. And that doesn't mean that you have to be some kind of a six-pack Andrew Tate kind of guy. I don't give a rat's ass about that, because it's about balance. You also have to think. You have to sit down with a cigar and a coffee, or your preferred weapon of choice, whatever, and think for yourself. Read, study, but also think, not just work hard. I work hard. I have a business. And trying to build that. But it's not just about working hard. Sometimes you really got to take a step back and say, well, is this the right way we go? Should we buy those 60 bottles of whiskeys? Or do we need more white wine or whatever? And sometimes it's just not about speed or doing hard stuff. It's about thinking, is this really the right thing? Contemplating Well, I could go on, but to be honest, you're quite bored already, I think. So, I'll just say cheers and thank you for listening once again. Bye-bye.